So now what we need to do on our student responses form here, we've already got a couple of formulas pulled in. Okay, now we need to pull some more information in. In here, we want to know whether that child has been approved. And we can only do that by getting the data from our student services. So we can say here, this student has been approved, this student has met expectations, and then we've got this column here. So these are the three columns that we need to get into our student services spreadsheet. So we need to populate these three columns with that data, but it has to match. Okay, so now what we're going to do is actually make that happen. So we've got our supervisor form here. This is all the data that we put in. You can see our unique keys have actually been pulled in. Let's just expand those columns just a little bit to tidy it up just a little bit. You can see all the information is here. So this is the column that we want to make sure that we're actually matching. So let's go to here and let's put in, did the student attend the service trip? So I want to take these titles, I'm going to copy these titles and I'm going to put them in here. So this column here has to have whether it's a yes or no on whether that particular child has been approved. So we need to build a formula here. Now we're going to use the function called match. So we're going to type in match and then bracket. Now what we are trying to match is the unique key. So we're going to say the search key we're looking for is the unique key, comma. Now what range are we looking to search for? Now the range that we want from our supervisor form, and it's going to be the unique key from our supervisor form, which is column O. And then we do a comma, and then we need to put a 0 or a 1 at the end because that determines how the match is going to happen, whether it's going to happen in descending order or ascending order. So let's put a 0 in here. That's just a formality. So let's enter that. Now what that's doing is telling us that in row 2, okay, in row 2 of the supervisor form, this is matched. So let's check that. Supervisor form, row 2, here we go, it's matched. So we can tell that that is absolutely correct. So let's go back to our form responses and just copy that down and just see if that works. So yeah, 4, 3, 5. So this one here, Bart Simpson, is on row 3. So let's go and have a look. Bart Simpson, yeah, Bart Simpson is definitely on row 3. So it's returning the row. We don't want that though. We want the actual contents of these cells. We want a yes to appear there or whatever's in this cell. There's nothing in there at the moment, but we want those contents in there. So we do that by adding a new function in front. We're going to index this. So we're going to put index. Now we want to index the column from our supervisor form. So the way I do this is I just simply copy this and just put it in there. So our supervisor form and then comma. But this is looking at column O. We don't want column O. So let's just return that for now because it's actually returning the unique key. We don't want it to return the unique key. We want it to return column E. So all we need to do is change that from O to E. So let's change that to E. And there we have the yes. And all we need then to do is copy this down. Now, just to test this, what I'm going to do is go to here and I'm just going to type in for Bart Simpson, it's going to be a no. And for Darth Vader, it's going to be a no. And let's just see if that calculates. There we go. We've got a no appearing there and a no for Bart Simpson and Darth Vader. So let's change that back. We know it's now working. So yes. And then we can go back to our student services and they will just change. And there you can see they've changed back to the yes. Okay, so we just need to make sure that these formulas are the same. The easiest way is just copy that formula, paste it in, then we're just replacing the values. So we're still looking for column O, but in the supervisor form, we want actually F now. So let's just change that to F instead of E. And then copy this down, and the same goes for here, and this is going to be G. And then let's copy that down as well. So if we just go back to our supervisor form, and let's just enter some rhubarb in here, Okay, and then if we go back to this, we should find that that populates. There we go. And you can see that it's actually populated. So let's just delete that now. We don't want that in there. So we have now 4 records. The supervisor has completed the 4 records. And we've brought that data in. The last part we need to do before we start sorting out what the information that goes out to the student and the supervisor is we need to add an add-on, okay, to both of our supervisor form and our student form. So let's start with the student form, and we're going to go up to add-ons, and we go on to get add-ons, and the add-on we want is called Copydown. And this is already installed on here, but there it is. So you add that. And what the Copydown is going to do, every time a new form is submitted, the formulas will automatically copy down to the next row. Okay, this saves you constantly having to come back to the spreadsheet and copy things down. So we're going to go to add-ons and add Copydown settings, and we're going to turn it on. Now that's going to come back and recognize all the formulas within our spreadsheet. And you can see here we go, they're all our formulas. Now this part here says paste as values. Now we don't want to do that. We want to paste them in as formulas. Now you would tick that if you had many formulas, because that would slow the spreadsheet down, but we haven't got so many, so we're just going to save that and then we can close. Now let's go back to the supervisor form. We're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to go up to add-ons, we're going to go to Copydown settings, we're going to turn it on, and there we have our formulas have been brought in, and we can save our settings. Okay, you can see there it's put another column in just to say, and it's saying this is the master row, so we cannot delete this row. All right, so that's important because that has all the master formulas within that row. Let's go back to the student services. We can see it's done the same thing here. We cannot delete this master row. Now what I'm going to do is just pull this down so it doesn't do it again. These are our test fields. And there we got our four fields there. So it's not going to repeat it on that case. Now what we want to do is now just test this. So let's go to the student learning form. So we want to put our name in, date of service. Let's do a February date. Let's do the 5th of February. Grade, service 1. Agree and submit. Okay, so let's go to our student service, and you can see that has come in. Now let's see if that's copied it down. All right, you can see here it has actually copied down the formulas. Now there is some errors here. Now the reason those errors are there because the supervisor hasn't done the supervisor form yet. So we can just change things around here. So we can just make things a little bit tidier. So in here, I'm just going to put an if error and then just put a blank space. And that's just going to tidy things up a bit. So when we do copy these down again, it gives a blank space rather than this NA. So let's just do that again. And the same for this one. And let's just copy these down, and then the NA will disappear. What you may need to do is then go into Copydown settings, and then just refresh, rediscover the formulas, and that will just refresh it, and then we can save that settings. What we've done is we've entered one. Now this child has entered in their data. Now what we should do after a period of time, the service learning supervisor form should then indicate that Marge Simpson is going to appear on here. Now it doesn't always appear, okay? So you may have to go into this manually, but we've used Form Ranger to make sure that when a form is submitted, Form Ranger will kick in. We can see here, on submit form, blah, blah, blah. So what we want to do is refresh the questions. And if we just scroll down, and you can see here, actually it's been done. All right, it's taken a few seconds, so we didn't have to actually run Form Ranger. But if it didn't, then you can just click here, refresh questions. So I can go to the form now, and let's just refresh that. And let's go to Service 1, Next, Choose, and we want to use Marge Simpson this time. Next, Yes, Yes, and then Sign Off. Submit. Now if we go here, we're going to find that that will appear. There we go. It's all copied down. Everything's copied down. If we go to our student services, now if we go along now, we should see yes and yes. They've been pulled in from the supervisor form, so now we know that that information is ready to go out to the students. So a lot of information in this video. In the next video, we're going to make sure that when a supervisor has filled out the form, then the data from here disappears. So the data on these two sheets should only be the students that have not been yet approved by the supervisor. So we'll do that in the next video.